The year was 2347. Earth had changed. It was no longer just a blue planet floating alone in space. It was the heart of something much bigger. The United Terran Federation controlled 12 star systems. Billions of humans lived on different worlds. Giant ships moved between the stars like fish swimming through an ocean of darkness. But even with all this power, humans had not forgotten who they were. They remembered their history. They remembered the wars. They remembered the pain. And they had made a promise to themselves. Never again would they let the weak suffer while they had the strength to help. Lieutenant Choi Mina sat at her station on Sentinel Prime. It was a massive space station that floated at the edge of human space. Her job was simple but important. She listened, all day and all night. She listened to the sounds of the universe. Most of it was just noise, stars burning, planets spinning, empty space humming with old energy. But on this night, something was different. Her computer made a sound, a small beep. Mina looked at her screen. There was a signal coming from far away, very far away. It came from the Vega system. That was a place humans had never been. The map said it was dangerous, unknown, forbidden. Mina leaned closer to her screen. The signal was strange. It was not random noise. It had a pattern. Someone had sent this message on purpose. Her heart began to beat faster. She ran the signal through her translation program. The computer worked for several minutes. Then words appeared on her screen. The words made her blood run cold. "Please help us. We are dying. They are killing us. Anyone who can hear this, please come. We have no one else. Please." Mina's hands were shaking. She pressed a button and called her commander. Within minutes, the message was sent to the highest levels of the Federation. Within hours, it reached Admiral Park Yuna. Admiral Park Yuna was not a woman who showed her feelings. She had spent 40 years in the military. She had seen battles. She had lost friends. She had made hard choices. Her face was calm, like still water. But inside, a fire burned. 20 years ago, aliens had attacked a human colony. Her father had been there. He had died trying to protect civilians. Since that day, Yuna had dedicated her life to one thing. She would make sure no one else would feel that pain. She would protect the innocent, no matter who they were or where they came from. She read the message from the Vega system. Then she read it again. The signal came from a species called the Lunari. Her experts told her what they had learned. The Lunari were a peaceful people. They had no weapons. They had no army. They had been artists and thinkers and dreamers. Then the Dominion of Kar came. The Dominion was an empire of conquest. They moved from world to world, taking everything. They enslaved entire species. They worked their prisoners until death. They had no mercy. They had no kindness. They only knew how to destroy. The Lunari homeworld had fallen to them long ago. Now the Lunari were slaves. They worked in mines and factories. They died by the thousands. And in their darkest hour, they had sent a message into the stars, a prayer, a hope, a desperate cry for help. Admiral Yuna called a meeting of the War Council. The leaders of the Federation gathered in a great hall. Some of them were worried. They said the Dominion was too strong. They said the Vega system was too far. They said humanity should stay safe and not get involved in a war that was not theirs. Yuna listened to all of them. Then she stood up. "I have heard your concerns," she said. Her voice was quiet but strong. "You speak of safety. You speak of risk. But I ask you this. What kind of people are we? Are we the kind who hide when others suffer? Are we the kind who close our eyes when the weak cry for help?" The room was silent. "The Lunari do not know us," Yuna continued. "They have never met a human. They sent their message into the darkness, hoping someone, anyone, would hear. And we heard. We heard their pain. We heard their fear. We heard their hope." She looked at each person in the room. "If we ignore them, we are not worthy of the stars we have claimed." If we turn away, we are no better than the monsters who enslave them. I did not build this fleet to hide. I built it to fight. I built it to protect. And today, we will use it." She raised her hand. "The first fleet will go to Vega. We will find the Lunari, and we will save them. This is not a request. This is an order." The War Council voted. The decision was made. Across human space, the word went out. Ships that had been sleeping came to life. Soldiers said goodbye to their families. Engines roared. Weapons were loaded. Captain Kim Do-hun received his orders aboard the battlecruiser Thunderborn. He was a hard man with kind eyes. His crew loved him because he led from the front. He never asked them to do anything he would not do himself. When he read the mission briefing, he smiled. "Finally," he said to himself, "a fight worth fighting." Back on Sentinel Prime, Lieutenant Choi Mina watched the fleet gather. Hundreds of ships, thousands of soldiers, all of them moving toward the unknown, all of them ready to die for people they had never met. She thought about the Lunari who had sent that message. She wondered if they were still alive. She wondered if they had any hope left. She wanted to tell them something. She wanted to say, "Hold on. We heard you. We are coming." The stars had sent a cry for help, and humanity had answered. The first fleet jumped into the darkness, heading toward a war that would change the galaxy forever. The first fleet moved through slipspace like a pack of wolves running through snow. 300 ships, 50,000 soldiers, all of them traveling faster than light, racing toward a battle that none of them had fought before. Admiral Park Yuna stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Iron Mountain. Through the windows, she could see nothing but swirling colors, blue and purple and white, all mixing together. This was slipspace, the road between the stars, a place where normal rules did not apply. The journey would take 3 days. 3 days to prepare. 3 days to think. 3 days to wonder what waited for them on the other side. Dr. Baek Soon-ho worked in his laboratory aboard one of the medical ships. He was a scientist who studied alien life. His job was to learn about the Lunari and find ways to help them. He spent hours looking at the little information they had. The Lunari were beautiful creatures. They had silver skin and large dark eyes. They were thin and gentle. Their bodies were not made for fighting. They were made for art and music and thought. Before the Dominion came, they had built great cities of crystal. They had written songs that lasted for days. They had studied the stars with wonder, not with greed. Now they were slaves. Dr. Baek felt anger rise in his chest. He had dedicated his life to understanding other species. He believed all thinking beings deserved respect. What the Dominion had done was not just wrong, it was evil. Commander Lee Gina checked her fighter for the 10th time. She was the leader of Phantom Squadron, the best pilots in the fleet. They flew small, fast ships that could hide from enemy sensors. Their job would be the most dangerous. They would strike first. Gina was not afraid of death. She had faced it many times, but she was afraid of failure. If her squadron could not destroy the enemy defenses, the whole fleet would suffer. Thousands would die because of her mistakes. That thought kept her awake at night. She ran simulations on her computer, attack patterns, escape routes, backup plans. She practiced until her eyes burned and her fingers hurt. Then she practiced more. Master Sergeant Han Taiho trained his Marines in the cargo bay of the assault carrier Iron Dawn. These men and women would be the first to set foot on the enemy planet. They would fight in the streets and tunnels and buildings. They would see the war up close. Taiho had been a soldier for 20 years. He had gray in his hair and scars on his arms. His face was hard, but his heart was soft. He loved his Marines like they were his children. He trained them hard because he wanted them to survive. The Dominion soldiers are big, he told them. They are strong. They have been fighting for a long time. But they have a weakness. They think they cannot lose. They have never met anyone who could beat them. That makes them careless. That makes them stupid. And we will make them pay for it. The Marines cheered. They were ready. On the second day, Admiral Una called all the commanders to a meeting. They gathered in a large room with a holographic map floating in the center. The map showed the Vega system. One planet glowed red, Lunara Prime, the Lunari homeworld. Around the planet, hundreds of dots moved in slow circles. Enemy ships, the Dominion fleet. Intelligence reports are not good, Una said. Her voice was calm and clear. The enemy has more ships than we do. Almost twice as many. Their weapons are strong. Their shields are thick. On paper, we should lose this fight. The room was quiet. Officers looked at each other with worried eyes. But we have something they do not have, Una continued. We have a reason to fight. We are not here for land or gold or power. We are here to save lives. That matters. When the battle gets hard, when you want to give up, remember why you came. Remember the Lunari who sent that message. Remember that they are counting on us. Captain Kim Do-hoon spoke up. Admiral, what is the plan? Una smiled. It was a small smile, but it was there. We hit them hard and fast. Commander Lee's squadron will go in first. They will destroy the orbital defense platforms. While the enemy is confused, the main fleet will attack. We will break their formation and push them away from the planet. Then the Marines will land. She looked at each person in the room. This will not be easy. Some of us will not come home. But I promise you this. We will not stop until the Lunari are free. We will not give up. We will not run away. That is not who we are. On the third day, the fleet reached the edge of the Vega system. The ships dropped out of slip space one by one. The swirling colors disappeared. Normal space returned. And there it was, Lunara Prime, a beautiful world of blue oceans and green forests. From this distance, it looked peaceful. It looked like a paradise. But between the fleet and the planet, the Dominion waited. Hundreds of warships, black and ugly and covered with weapons. They hung in space like angry wasps protecting their nest. Sensors showed the numbers. 600 enemy ships, defense platforms with heavy guns, fighter squadrons on patrol. It was a wall of death. Captain Kim Do-hoon looked at the screen on his bridge. He saw the enemy fleet. He saw how many there were. And he laughed. Only 600, he said. I thought this would be hard. His crew laughed with him. Fear was there, yes. But so was courage. So was determination. So was the fire that burned in every human heart. Admiral Una's voice came through every speaker on every ship in the fleet. All ships. This is Admiral Park. The enemy is before us. Behind us is everything we love, everything we believe in. Today we fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Today we show the galaxy what humanity stands for. All ships, prepare for battle. Commander Lee Gina powered up her fighter. Her squadron formed behind her, 12 small ships against an armada. Phantom Squadron, she said. Time to go to work. The fighters shot forward into the darkness. The battle for Lunara Prime was about to begin. Commander Lee Gina flew through the asteroid belt like a ghost. Her ship was small and fast. Its skin was black and covered with special material that made it invisible to enemy sensors. Behind her, 11 more fighters followed in perfect formation. The asteroids were huge rocks floating in space. Some were as big as mountains. Gina used them as cover, hiding behind one rock after another. The enemy could not see her. They did not know death was coming. Her target was 3 defense platforms. They were giant stations with massive guns. Those guns could destroy entire ships with one shot. If the main fleet attacked while those platforms were active, thousands would die. Gina had to take them out. Phantom 2, Phantom 3, take the left platform, she said quietly into her radio. 4 and 5, the right one, The rest of you, follow me to the center. Plant the charges and get out fast. We only have one chance." Her pilots responded with clicks. No words needed. They knew what to do. The Dominion guards were lazy. They had owned this system for so long that they had forgotten what danger felt like. Their patrols moved slowly. Their sensors pointed outward, looking for big threats from far away. They never thought to look for small ships hiding in the rocks so close to home. That was their first mistake. Gina reached the center platform. It was enormous, a metal monster covered with guns and armor. She flew underneath it. So close she could see the rust on its hull. Her heart was pounding, but her hands were steady. She had done this before. She would do it again. She pressed a button. A small missile launched from her ship and attached itself to the platform. Inside the missile was a nuclear bomb, small but powerful, enough to crack the station in half. "Charge planted," she said. "All Phantoms, report." One by one, her pilots confirmed. All 3 platforms were ready to die. "Fall back," Gina ordered. "Get clear." The fighters turned and raced away. Behind them, the bombs exploded. 3 suns were born in an instant. White light filled the darkness. The platforms broke apart like toys, metal and fire spinning into space. The shockwave hit Gina's ship and shook it hard. Warning lights flashed. But she kept flying. She kept going. The Dominion fleet went crazy. Alarms screamed. Ships turned in confusion. Commanders shouted orders that no one followed. For a few precious minutes, they did not know what was happening. They did not know where the attack came from. That was when Admiral Yuna gave the order. "All ships, attack!" The human fleet charged forward like a wave. 300 ships moving as one. Their guns opened fire. Thousands of missiles launched. Railguns sent metal slugs flying at impossible speeds. The darkness of space lit up with death. The first Dominion ships died before they could even turn around. Explosions ripped through their hulls. Fires burned in the vacuum. Escape pods shot out, only to be caught in crossfire and destroyed. Captain Kim Do-hoon led the Thunderborn straight into the heart of the enemy formation. His ship was big and tough. Its armor was thick. Its guns were hungry. He pushed through the chaos like a bull through a crowd. "Target that dreadnought," he ordered. "The big one with the gold markings. That is their command ship. Kill it." The Thunderborn opened fire. Missiles screamed across space. Railgun rounds punched through shields. The enemy dreadnought tried to fight back. Its guns hit the Thunderborn again and again. The ship shook. Alarms rang. Crew members fell. But Do-hoon did not stop. "More power to the forward guns," he said. "Keep firing. Do not let up." The Thunderborn hit the dreadnought with everything it had. The enemy ship's shields finally broke. Its armor cracked. Its engines exploded. The whole thing came apart in a ball of fire and twisted metal. The crew of the Thunderborn cheered, but there was no time to celebrate. More enemies were coming. The battle raged for hours. Ships fought and died on both sides. The darkness of space became a graveyard of broken metal and frozen bodies. The stars themselves seemed to hide from the violence. High Commander Raxul of the Dominion watched from his flagship. He was a massive creature, covered in scales and muscle. His eyes burned with anger. No one had ever attacked the Dominion like this. No one had ever dared. He sent a message to the human fleet. His ugly face appeared on every screen. "Unknown ships," he growled. "You have made a terrible mistake. Surrender now and I will kill you quickly. Continue to fight and I will make your deaths last for years. You cannot win. The Dominion is eternal. You are nothing." Admiral Yuna looked at the screen. She saw the monster who had enslaved millions. She saw the face of evil itself, and she smiled. Her answer was one word: no. The battle continued. Human ships pushed forward. Dominion ships fell back. Step by step, the enemy was losing ground. Their formation was broken. Their command structure was shattered. Their confidence was destroyed. After 6 hours of fighting, it was over. The Dominion fleet was broken. Half their ships were destroyed. The survivors ran away, retreating to the planet's surface. They would hide in their bases and bunkers. They would wait for the ground war. Admiral Yuna looked at the battlefield. She saw the wreckage of enemy ships floating in space. She also saw human ships that would never fly again. She saw the cost of victory: 47 human ships destroyed, 8,000 soldiers dead. 8,000 men and women who had come to save strangers and paid with their lives. She closed her eyes for a moment. Then she opened them again. The job was not done. "All ships," she said, "move to orbit. Prepare for ground operations. We have won the sky. Now we must win the ground." Below them, Lunara Prime waited. The Lunari were still slaves. The Dominion was still there. The war was not over yet. The dropships fell from the sky like rain, hundreds of them, carrying thousands of Marines. The ships burned as they entered the atmosphere. Their metal hulls glowed orange and red. Anti-aircraft fire shot up from the ground, trying to kill them before they could land. Master Sergeant Han Taiho held onto his seat as his dropship shook and spun. The lights inside flickered. Explosions sounded outside. The young Marines around him were scared. He could see it in their eyes. "Listen to me," he said loudly over the noise. "When those doors open, we move fast. We fight hard. We do not stop. Remember why we are here. There are people down there who need us. They have been waiting a long time. Let us not keep them waiting anymore." The ship hit the ground hard. The doors flew open. Bright light and smoke rushed in. Taiho was the first one out. Lunara Prime was a beautiful world, even with all the scars. The sky was purple and gold. The trees were tall with silver leaves. But everywhere Taiho looked, he saw the marks of slavery. Factories with black smoke. Roads covered with ash. Buildings that were once beautiful, now broken and ugly. And the Dominion soldiers were waiting. They were big creatures. Their skin was thick like armor. Their eyes were small and mean. They carried heavy guns and sharp blades. When they saw the humans, they roared with anger and charged. The fighting was brutal. Bullets flew through the air. Bodies fell on both sides. Taiho shot 3 enemies before they could reach him. He kicked another in the chest and put a knife through its throat. His Marines fought beside him, screaming and shooting and bleeding. Above them, Commander Lee Gina provided air support. Her fighter screamed across the sky, raining fire on enemy positions. Her co-pilot, a young man named Yoon Sungmin, handled the weapons while she flew. "Enemy tank on the left," Sungmin said. "I see it." Firing. Missiles shot from their ship. The tank exploded, but then something hit them from behind. An enemy fighter hiding in the clouds. The cockpit shook. Alarms screamed. Gina felt pain in her shoulder. She looked over and saw Sungmin. He was not moving. Blood covered his face. "Sungmin!" she cried. But he was gone, just like that. One moment alive, the next moment dead. Gina's heart broke. But she did not have time to cry. She pulled her ship up and turned around. The enemy fighter was still there. She locked onto it and fired everything she had. The enemy ship came apart in a ball of flame. "That was for Sungmin," she whispered. Then she went back to work. Dr. Baek Sunho landed with a medical team near one of the labor camps. What he saw there would stay with him forever. The Lunari were kept in cages. They were thin, so thin that their bones showed through their silver skin. Their large dark eyes were empty. Many of them could not stand. Many of them were already dead. Their bodies left to rot beside the living. Children cried for parents they would never see again. Old ones sat in silence, too broken to even hope. The smell of death was everywhere. The sound of suffering filled the air. Sunho recorded everything with his camera. He sent the footage to the fleet. When the soldiers saw it, something changed in them. Their tiredness disappeared. Their fear became rage. They fought harder. They pushed faster. Every human who saw those images understood what they were fighting for. One Lunari grabbed Sunho's arm. It was an old female with wise eyes. She looked at him and spoke. Her voice was weak, but her words were clear. "You came," she said. "We called into the darkness, and you came. Who are you?" Sunho held her hand gently. "We are humans," he said. "We are from a planet called Earth. We heard your message. We are here to help." Tears fell from her dark eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." The battle moved toward the central command bunker. High Commander Raxul was hiding there with his best soldiers. Taiho's Marines fought through streets and buildings to reach it. Every step cost blood. Every corner held danger. Then something terrible happened. Raxul activated a failsafe system. Satellites in orbit powered up. They were not weapons against ships. They were weapons against the planet. They could bomb the labor camps from space. Millions of Lunari would die in fire. "If I cannot have my slaves," Raxul growled, "no one will." Captain Kim Do-hun detected the satellites from orbit. His ship, the Thunderborn, was badly damaged from the space battle. Half its systems were broken. Its engines could barely move. But it was still alive. He was still alive. He looked at the satellites. He looked at the camps full of innocent people. He looked at his crew. "Get to the escape pods," he said quietly. "All of you. Now." His first officer stared at him. "Captain, the Thunderborn can still fly. It can still hit something. Those satellites need to be destroyed. There is only one way to do it in time." The first officer understood. His eyes filled with tears. "Sir, please, there must be another way." Do-hun smiled. It was a sad smile, but a peaceful one. "There is not. Go, live. Tell them what happened here. Tell them the Thunderborn died well." The crew evacuated. Escape pods shot away from the dying ship. Captain Kim Do-hun sat alone on his bridge. He pointed his ship at the satellites. He pushed the engines to full power. The Thunderborn flew one last time. It hit the satellite array at full speed. The explosion was massive. White light filled the sky. The satellites were destroyed. The camps were saved. Millions of Lunari lived because one man chose to die. On the ground, Taiho's Marines broke into the command bunker. The fighting was close and bloody. Room by room, they pushed forward. Finally, they found Raxul. The High Commander fought like a beast. He killed 5 Marines before they brought him down. Bullets tore through his thick hide. He fell to his knees, blood pouring from his wounds. Taiho stood over him. "It is over," he said. "Your empire dies here." Raxul looked up with hate in his eyes. "You think you have won? The Dominion will return. We will destroy your kind. We will—" Taiho shot him before he could finish. The monster was dead. The battle was over. Lunara Prime was free. The sun rose over Lunara Prime. It was the first sunrise the Lunari had seen as free people in more than 100 years. The sky turned from black to purple to gold. Light touched the silver trees and made them shine. It was beautiful. It was hope. Admiral Park Yuna stood on a hill overlooking the largest city on the planet. Human engineers worked below, repairing buildings and power lines. Medical teams treated the sick and wounded. Soldiers handed out food and water to the freed Lunari. The cost of victory was heavy. 12,000 human lives lost. 89 ships destroyed. Captain Kim Do-hun and his crew gone forever. Yuna had written letters to the families of every person who died. 12,000 letters. Each one hurt more than the last. But when she looked at the Lunari, when she saw them walking free, when she saw children playing for the first time in their lives, she knew it was worth it. Every sacrifice had meaning. Every death had purpose. Dr. Baek Sunho had become the main link between humans and Lunari. He spent his days talking with their elders, learning their language, understanding their culture. The Lunari were gentle and kind. They had suffered so much, but they had not lost their hearts. One day, an old Lunari named Sarah came to him. She was the same one who had grabbed his arm in the labor camp. She had become his friend. "Dr. Beck," she said, "I have a question. Why did you come? We are not your people. We are not from your world. Why did you risk everything for strangers?" Sunho thought about the question. He had asked himself the same thing many times. "A long time ago," he said, "humans learned a hard lesson. We learned that evil grows when good people do nothing. We learned that silence makes us part of the crime. When we heard your message, we could not stay silent. We could not look away. If we had done that, we would not be human anymore." Sarah nodded slowly. "Your people are strange," she said, "but strange in a good way. We will never forget what you have done." Back on Sentinel Prime, Lieutenant Choi Mina was very busy. Since the Battle of Lunara Prime, her station had received hundreds of new signals. Other species had been watching. They had seen what humanity did, and now they wanted to talk. Some signals were from species that had been conquered by the Dominion. They begged for help, just like the Lunari had. Others were from species that had hidden in fear for centuries. They wanted to know if the humans were real. They wanted to know if hope was possible. A few signals were warnings. The Dominion was vast. The fleet at Lunara Prime was just a small part of their empire. They would come back. They would want revenge. Humanity had made a powerful enemy. Mina recorded every message and sent them to Admiral Yuna. The galaxy was waking up. Everything was changing. Commander Lee Gina received a medal for her bravery. She did not want it. She kept thinking about Yoon Sung-min, her co-pilot who died beside her. She kept seeing his face, still and pale, covered in blood. After the ceremony, she went to the memorial wall. It was a long wall covered with names, the names of everyone who died at Lunara Prime. She found Sung-min's name and put her hand on it. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I should have been faster. I should have seen that enemy ship. It should have been me, not you." She stood there for a long time. Then she felt a hand on her shoulder. It was Master Sergeant Han Taeho. "He would not want you to blame yourself," Taeho said. "He died doing what he believed in. He died a hero. The best thing you can do for him now is to keep going. Keep fighting. Make his sacrifice mean something." Gina wiped her eyes. "I know. It just hurts." "It always hurts," Taeho said. "That is how you know you are still alive." 1 week after the liberation, a great ceremony was held. Humans and Lunari gathered together in the center of the capital city. Admiral Yuna stood on a platform with the new Lunari leaders beside her. Millions watched. On Lunara Prime, on Earth, on every human colony, on dozens of alien worlds that had never heard of humanity before. Yuna spoke. "We came here because someone asked for help. We did not know who they were. We did not know if we would survive. But we knew one thing. We knew that good people cannot ignore suffering. We knew that strength means nothing if you do not use it to protect the weak." She paused. Her eyes moved across the crowd. "The Dominion thought they could do whatever they wanted. They thought no one would stop them. They were wrong. Today, the Lunari are free. Today, a message goes out to every corner of this galaxy, to every tyrant, to every bully, to every monster who thinks they can hurt the innocent without consequences." Her voice became stronger. "Humanity is watching, and we will not look away. Wherever there is oppression, wherever there is cruelty, wherever people cry out for justice, we will come. We will fight. And we will not stop until the job is done." The crowd erupted in cheers. Humans and Lunari together, their voices rising to the purple sky. Far away in the dark corners of space, the remnants of the Dominion heard the speech. They had ruled through fear for 1,000 years. Now, for the first time, they felt fear themselves. A new power had risen, a species they had never heard of, a species that answered the cries of strangers, the humans. That night, Admiral Una stood alone in her quarters. She looked at a star map that showed the galaxy. So many stars, so many worlds, so many species, some free, some enslaved, some waiting for someone to save them. The Lunari were the first. They would not be the last. She thought about Kim Do-hoon. She thought about all the soldiers who died. She thought about the cost of what they had done. And she thought about the cost of doing nothing. Her choice was clear. It had always been clear. She pressed a button and called her staff. "Begin planning for the next mission," she said. "There are more people out there who need help. We have work to do." Outside her window, the stars burned cold and bright. They had ignored humanity for so long. Now they trembled at what humanity had become. Earth's wrath had been ignited, and the galaxy would never be the same.